going to be a problem.
Oh no! So the two most common questions I get on just about every meal planning video that I do are one, some variation of what is a haystack, or can you show us how to make haystacks? Is there a recipe for haystacks? Or the other question is, are you a Seventh-day Adventist? And that's because haystacks are very ingrained in kind of Adventist culture, at least in the US. I guess I don't know about other countries, but if you know what haystacks are, typically you are either a Seventh-day Adventist, you are a former Seventh-day Adventist, or you know some Seventh-day Adventists that shared the recipe with you or kind of how to make it. So to answer both of those questions in this video, one, yes, I am a Seventh-day Adventist, and two, I'm gonna show you how to make haystacks in this video. Something else I'm really excited about is when I was telling my husband that I was going to make this video, when he was driving home, we were chatting on the phone, and he said, well, if they want to see a really well-made haystack, then I should probably film this video for you. And I said, do you want to? Do you want to do it with me? We could both make a haystack and kind of talk about the different things we like. And he said, sure. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Ross Eichele.
Hello, everyone.
Well, thanks for coming on the channel.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
And I was just telling everyone how the lovely thing about haystacks is there are so many different ways that you can make a haystack, and you can really make it as complex or simple as you would like. What we have here tonight is not our typical haystack spread. I spent a lot more time prepping and am showing you guys a lot more options than we would do just on a regular any night of the week. This would be more like if we were having company and having haystacks. So don't feel like, oh my goodness, that's so much, I could never do all of that prepping. You can absolutely take what you see here, use the things you like, throw out the things you don't, and we'll just kind of show you some different options. We're actually both going to make a haystack, and we'll just kind of walk you through what we're doing at each step of the way. So we'll start at the beginning.
Yes.
And if you ever go to any type of Adventist potluck, you will know right away that the holy grail of chips are
Fritos.
the Fritos. This is what will be gone before any of the other bags of chips. And it's not normally what we use.
But it's the best.
At home, yeah, because
They don't get soggy. They're delicious. They stay crunchy. All the good things.
yeah, it's not normally what we use at home because it is the most expensive of all the chips, but if they're ever on sale, I do get them, and I got them because, yeah, it's just good to know that it's one of the favorite options, and if you're a Frito lover, it's a good choice for your chip, for your base layer. I think that's one of the few things that there's not much debate about, is the haystack starts with the chips. Would you agree?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh, go ahead.
Pro tip, start a little small because it can get out of hand very quickly if once you start adding everything. So this is okay for me, but
for me,
but
yeah,
for some
sometimes
people it's like then your plate is overflowing and it's hard to mix it. So start a little bit small and you can always add more.
So what I'm going to do for my chips, I'm going to do some of the Fritos too. But another way to think about this, I often call it in my videos kind of like a taco salad that you make yourself, but it could also be kind of like a loaded nacho. And that's actually how some people make it. They would do chips like this and then keep the chips whole. But a lot of people, when they are starting their base layer, will crunch the chips. So if you're using just regular tortilla chips, that's often how it's made. But I'm gonna add some of the Fritos in too because they're delicious and we have them. So after the chips, that is where the debates start. And there was actually one time we were doing a haystack potluck with friends, and one friend and I kept going behind each other and rearranging the table because she thought the lettuce went next after the chips, and I think the beans go next. So in most cases, at most potlucks, I have seen beans next.
Beans is always next.
But some people do think that the lettuce goes next.
And that debate would be the beans could make your chips soggy.
Yes.
But with Fritos, you don't have to worry about that.
And you can do, I prefer homemade beans. I don't think they're that hard to make, and I think that they are more delicious. But you can also, if you want to make this a quick lunch or dinner, canned beans are great. And just about any type of beans. The only ones I don't typically use our kidney beans, but they work. To me, kidney beans make it feel more like a taco salad, although it's pretty much the same thing. But canned refried beans are great, black beans,
chili beans,
canned pinto beans, all of those things. So next, we would have the grain. Now, this isn't something that everyone does every time. Often if there's going to be a piece left out of the haystacks, it is this section right here. But sometimes you will see people do rice. And we in our family will also do quinoa. I prefer the quinoa, but the kids all chose the rice when I fed them before we made this video. So what would you like?
I'm gonna do a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, yeah. Always a good choice. Also, when you're making a haystack, you really can't go wrong with a little bit of everything. Now, after the grain is something that I think is unique to our family, but you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is we love to do, at least Ross and I love, the kids all skip this whenever we ask if they want it or not. We like to do some sauteed peppers and onions, and I think we got that idea from way back in the day, going to Qdoba and getting those veggie salads. I think, have you seen like grilled veggies or cooked veggies at potlucks or other people's houses?
Not usually. It's usually like, you know, the fresh type of veggie toppings. And if you happen to be a meat eater, this would also be a point in time where you could add your, you know, beef crumbles or chicken or whatever other kind of thing you want as well on there.
And definitely your cheese. If you want cheese, like put it on top of the beans so that it will melt. We have a plant-based cheese that we will put on later, but usually if we're at a potluck or something else where people are eating the regular cheese, the cheese would go right here after the beans. Now, at the end of this video, I am going to ask you guys to vote on which of us made the better haystack, because Ross said if I wanted to show a really good haystack, he would need to be here to film it. So I'll need you guys to vote. Let us know in the comments whose haystack would you most want to eat. Next in line, at least the way we do it, is lettuce or lettuce type things. You were saying some people, the greens. Mm-hmm. Some people would do this.
Some people might take these other toppings and put them on and then put the lettuce on last. Sometimes you put the lettuce on first and then the toppings. It's all in how you want to design it. It all gets mixed together anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I would say mainly the go-to things that like we always have whenever we do it, some sort of chip. Some people will even do like Doritos as their chip base layer. You can really make haystacks as healthy or unhealthy as you would like. The chip though, the chip layer is probably the least healthy of all the layers. So the chip layer would definitely be the first layer we always have if we're going to have haystacks at our house. Beans, grains are kind of if we have it, if we don't. Even the sauteed veggies, that's kind of a if we have time and if we want to do that. But some sort of lettuce layer would be kind of one of the staples for our home. And I actually got some spinach too, because you and I like spinach. The kids all passed on the spinach when they were making their haystacks. Often for kids though, you will see if you go to an Adventist potluck, most of the kids will have all of the ingredients separate in like separate little piles on their plate. So that's one of the nice things about this meal is everyone gets to make their own plate. Most of the adults will layer, but some do more of a nacho style. Some will keep the chips in one pile and use everything else as a dip. But it's really versatile and it's kind of a fun way to get your kids to eat and try more veggies than they may have otherwise. So I'm gonna go spinach.
I'm gonna do a little spinach as well. I like to tear it up into little smaller pieces though. And as you can see, it quickly gets fairly big, fairly quick.
Yeah. It's definitely easy to make it way too big of a plate. So with the kids, sometimes to help with that, I will put it on a smaller plate just to keep it smaller because it's really your base layer that makes everything else get out of control. If you can keep the chips to kind of a minimum, then it doesn't get too bad, but the more chips you have, the more of everything else you have. I'm gonna do a little lettuce too. I like a lot of lettuce.
And for the fresh veggies, you can basically choose your own adventure. Mm-hmm. Whatever and as much as you like. Make it look pretty.
So I did some chopped purple cabbage. That's kind of one that's more a, if I think about it and we have it, especially if we have it in the garden, I will typically do the cabbage. The shredded carrots are pretty much another staple that we 99% of the time we'll put on our haystacks. And it's one that I don't see at a lot of other people's houses or potlucks or things like that. So, you know, it's one of those things where you can customize this to your family's preferences and what you like to do. I like to try to have as many veggies as possible, but if we don't have all of these things on hand, it doesn't mean we can't do haystacks. Like, it's just a matter of what we have and what we have the time to prep. Sometimes if it's a late evening, all we have time to do is open up some cans, get the lettuce out, and maybe carrots, and then the dressings. So it can be a quick meal if you want it to. And the other way that I make this a quick meal is we will make this earlier on during the week, and I will prep way more of the veggies than I need to. And then I'll actually put everything in its container. Like, this container can go in the fridge. And then as soon as we're done eating, I'll just put them all in the fridge like this. And it's really easy to pull out all the containers of cut veggies for lunches during the week. I'm gonna do the cabbage. What all did you go with for your veggies?
Everything.
Okay.
All of it.
So carrots, I have corn. Now, one thing we do when we're at home is I don't really use spoons for every little thing because we're just at home. But I know some people have to have little spoons in every one of these jars, but sorry if this grosses you out that we're just reaching in and grabbing whatever veggies that we're using. Avocado, if we have avocado.
Love avocado.
So I don't know if I said them all. You're not going to be able to see all the veggies probably, but purple cabbage or red cabbage, carrots, corn, cucumbers, tomato. I passed on the tomato because I'm not a big tomato person. I'm going to take the other half of that avocado. That is looking really pretty.
And then it becomes a delicious rainbow of food.
Ross is a food artist, or at least he should have been. He really missed his calling. His food always looks like a work of art. He's more meticulous than I am. I'm more of a let's get dinner on the table kind of person. So I tend to just throw it all on the plate, but his food always looks very pretty when it's done and made. The whole half, yeah, why not? We'll go crazy. Then we get to more the sauce area.
This is where Kassy shines. The sauce and the hot sauce and the condiments.
Yes.
This is where hers becomes just covered.
I love me some hot sauce. I really like using some limes as well on the haystack. I love sour and spicy. Two favorite flavor profiles, I think.
Some good salsa.
Some of this homemade dressing. The kids typically like dressing over salsa, although they will do some. And then I also like to make, if I have time, not a must-have, but I like to make a cheese sauce and a sour cream as well.
This is a dairy-free cheese sauce you may have seen in some of Kassy's other videos. We use it for mac and cheese. We use it as just kind of a cheese sauce. We use it for nachos. We use it for all kinds of stuff. It's just made out of like cashews and the other goodies.
Yeah, actually, I don't know that I've ever shown it in a video before, but this is kind of a new type of video for me, showing you guys how to make something. If you like this type of video, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to show you how I make the beans from scratch, how I make the cheese sauces, things like that, if you guys like it, and if this video does okay. Well, thanks.
And then there's also some dairy-free sour cream that's made with
Sunflower seeds.
Sunflower seeds, which is also quite good.
Give me a dollop. Ooh, first, I did want to say, there are a couple of other things that some people do on their haystack. I personally, I don't know. I don't.
Tried a couple of them, but haven't been like big fans of them.
Yeah. I don't think it's proper haystack material, but some people swear by it. So some people actually put ketchup on their haystack. And again, you will actually see this at most potlucks that have haystacks, because there is a large minority, I would say, that will put ketchup on their haystack. I've actually never tried this. Have you tried the ketchup?
I think I've tried it.
Yeah.
Wasn't my favorite.
To me, it's kind of a Mexican type meal with the beans, and to me, ketchup doesn't belong on Mexican food. But there's a lot of people that disagree with me on that. And also pickles. Some people swear by pickles.
I mean, they weren't as bad. I mean, you like banana peppers.
Oh, I love
and
banana.
you know, some of those kind of things on it. So
Yeah, banana peppers, jalapenos.
It's got similar.
I love those. The pickles I like, and I will tend to use them if they are cut, but I didn't cut up a bunch because it's not going to be something that everyone likes, and it's not something that's going to be common. I don't know. Do you typically get it if there are pickles? Yeah.
Not always.
It's not something you see at a lot of places, but we had some very good friends that had to have pickles on
Cucumbers, yes, but not always pickles.
Right.
Another thing too that a lot of people have is different types of dressings. Like there's always like a ranch dressing or some other type of salad dressings as well that go really well on it.
Sour cream, if you like sour cream. Like I said, you can add, you don't have to do, like we're mainly plant-based, but you don't have to do it plant-based. You can add your meat, you can add your cheese. We have some friends that will do feta cheese on their Haystack, and though we don't typically do feta at home, I've done it before there and it is quite delicious. And so that's a good option too if you want to, you know, elevate your Haystack a little bit. So yeah, I hope this answered you guys' questions. Do you have anything else you want to add? Oh yes, we have to do the judging. I'll do some video so they can get an up close. I do think yours is probably prettier, but I think mine will taste better, and that's what's most important. So thanks guys for watching.
Thanks for having me on the channel.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have you on. I did.
Thanks for having me on the channel.
You're welcome. Will you do it again if they like having you here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, if you guys liked having Ross here, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what other kind of videos you would like us to do together. And I will see you guys on the next video. Also, we forgot to mention, typically people will stir up or mix up their haystack so it's no longer a stack when they eat it. Now, some people do keep it in the stack form and eat it all neat, but most people will mix, I think most, right?
Yeah.
Most people mix it up. So.
But as you can see, the bigger your haystack gets, the harder it is to mix. But, you know, you want every delectable ingredient in every bite. So.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. And then I'm also going to, while we're here, add a little more Fritos on top for a little crunch. You know. You're good. You did all Fritos, so you're good. Thanks for watching. We're going to go eat dinner.
Yep, that's going to be a problem.
Oh, no!
That's...
Oh, no.
Yeah, now you're definitely not going to win that.
I should have taken that video first. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Ross Eichele. Well, I'm definitely not winning any competitions.
Well, you should have known that from the beginning, but...
Oh, that was a lot of hot sauce. Just a mess.
Yeah.
Mine was so... Well, yours was always prettier, but... I forgot about the competition as I was making it.
That's what always gets you.